Hey everyone, welcome. Today I have a really fun practice for you that looks at balance from the perspective of trying to find the playfulness of it and the ease, which is, I think, sometimes a different approach to what we tend to find when we're working on balancing poses. We tend to look for stillness, right? Focus, that place in the middle where everything is really, really strong and steady. But that's not necessarily what balance is about, at least not all the time. So why don't we check out this practice and see what you think? Let's go. Now, you're going to take that same idea into a little bit more balance. Okay, so I'll show first and then we'll do it together, really similar to what we just did with the rocking. So you're going to step forward onto your right foot, lift your left foot up, knee is bent. Step back, right knee comes up. Step forward, left foot comes up. Step back, right foot comes up. And it's just a rock forward and back. Rock forward and back. Your right knee will bend when it lifts though. Yeah, because if you swing it up, and you could do that too, but think of it more as just like a bent leg action. Your knees are pretty soft. You're rocking forward and back. And I'm guessing in this moment that you're not actually thinking, I'm balancing right now, but you are. As soon as you start thinking about it, you might lose your balance. I just did. I mean, because when you're doing this, you're not thinking, oh, in that moment, and you can pause a little bit. So when you step forward, just pause a little and then step back so that you are actually holding it. Okay? And then switch sides. Okay, so you step forward onto your left foot, your right knee bends and your right foot lifts up. Step back and your left foot lifts up and the knee is bent. So you're not kicking it forward. Step forward onto your left foot, right foot lifts. Step back, left foot lifts. And again, your knees stay relatively soft the whole time. But also notice that my torso actually isn't changing much. So that when I step back, I'm not leaning back with my torso. My upper body isn't really changing. My legs are changing. And I want you to pay attention to what your upper body is doing as you step forward and back. And again, it's a rocking action. So I'm going forward and back, putting my weight on one leg then the other. Okay, so you're not kicking your foot up behind you, kicking it up in front of you. It's a rocking action. Okay? And now we're going to go back to the first side again. And before we do, actually just stay in the center here for a moment and just shift from one leg to the other. Right, and just lift one foot up and then the other. Your legs might get a little tired doing this. Very consistent, sustained movement, but I want you to feel this action very simply. Again, my upper body's not changing as I do this. I could change direction. Upper body's not changing. So you really want your upper body to be stacked over your hips as opposed to upper body leaning forward, which is why in triangle pose earlier, it was so important to say, hey, no, upper body goes back. Right, your head is roughly in line with your hips, okay? And then just stop for a sec. Give your legs a little shake. You can let go of the rocking action. But I want you to have that in your head, those two things. Number one, upper body and head are not separate from your lower body. Okay, that's number one. Okay, that's number one and super important. And also, that this action is really simple. Really, really simple. But every time you are sustained on one leg, that is balance. Okay? Now, you're going to go back to first side, right? First leg, which is your right leg, and you're just going to add to it a little bit. Okay, so as you step onto your right leg, left leg can go up and behind you, and as you step back, right knee comes up. Step onto your right leg, left leg goes up like warrior three, and you step back, right knee goes up. Again, your arms aren't really doing anything, and it doesn't have to be a full warrior three. You can join me anytime because you're adding a little bit more of that lean. But still here, my upper body isn't really changing in that as I take my torso forward, I'm not leading with my head, right? And I'm not letting my chest collapse toward the floor. So even as my left leg swings up and my right knee comes up, my torso is staying effectively in the same place. Okay? So just forward and back. And then go to the other side. See, I lost my balance there, which is fine. Okay, go to the other side. So step onto your left leg, right leg goes up. Step back onto your right leg, left knee up. And it's, you're moving in the direction of warrior three. Just moving in the direction of it, but still with that rock forward and rock back. Rock forward, rock back. Yeah. Good. And just play a little bit. Remembering that when you're rocking forward and back, it's not a kick. Okay, you're not like kicking and kicking. That'll throw you more off balance. So rock and a shifting of your weight. Okay? And just one more time, forward and back. And then pause and let that go, okay? The last thing that we're going to do is add arms, potentially, and add a little bit more of a static hold. Because what we're really doing here, this rocking action, what I want you to feel is that it's not a huge movement, but that when you're moving, you're a lot less inclined to worry about your balance, right? You're a lot less inclined to be like, oh my God, I'm about to fall, because you know that all you have to do is go back again, pull yourself back. And so it's less an issue of like falling and more an issue of how do I get back to that place of stability? Okay, so your options are to keep doing just arms alongside your body with this rocking action forward and back, right? Aiming more for warrior three like torso, right? Where your torso is parallel to the floor. Or you can add arms, right? So you would start arms when your knee is lifted alongside your body. And as you step forward, arms go forward. Okay, knee lifts, arm goes down. Step forward, arms go forward. Okay, is the general idea. You could do the opposite way too. You actually could. I've done it both ways. But if you want to work on the idea of extending your arms alongside your ears in warrior three, this is more the way to do it. Okay, so, and last piece is when you find yourself in that good rhythm of going forward and back, see if you can pause for a beat before switching back. Okay, so let's do it. So stepping onto your right leg, arms go forward. Stepping back onto your left leg, right knee up, arms down. That's the flow. And like I said, you could do a different action with your arms if you want to. You can try to find a pause. As you go forward and back, you can try to find that space where you're holding it for a beat, maybe more than a beat. And just remembering that when you start to lose your balance, all you have to do is shift to the other foot. Yes, that's great. And then one more time, forward and back. And we'll switch to the other leg. So, woo. All right, so stepping onto your left leg, arms swing forward, step back onto your right leg, left knee up, arms go down. That's your flow. Forward and back. Whee! And this should feel playful, right? It should feel kind of fun. I mean, maybe I have a really weird idea of fun, but, you know. And just forward and back a few more times. Maybe holding for a few beats. When you're in a good rhythm, maybe moving a little bit more quickly, if that feels like a fun way to play. And then let it go. And shake it out. So, what did you think of this maybe refreshing approach to balance? I think it's refreshing. I think it's refreshing because balance is so much more about the dynamic aspects of moving through the midline, finding the extremes, finding that place where actually you fall out of a pose, right? So that you know how far it is that you need to go, where you are past that point that you can hold on and then come back to where you were, right? That is the dynamic play that makes balance really interesting instead of kind of a drag, at least in my perspective and from my opinion. So if you enjoyed that practice, there is a full class that you could check out in my online studio, Move with Naomi. It's part of my Better Balance series that you would have access to as a member, along with hundreds of other classes that focus on balance and so many other things. So if this is up your alley and you want a little bit more, you can check out the information in the description below and get a discount code to test out Move with Naomi for 50% off your first month. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, check it out. And either way, I look forward to seeing you on the mat again really soon. Until then, bye everyone.